Wendy, your first thing was, what is success? And I think that's a very good, very, very good question because people we wander and we wonder. And I always wanted to like sell the radio show and do this. To be successful, I had to sell the radio show. And then I realized that what we're doing intrinsically is so much better and so much bigger than just dollars that it's like, and then you lose the stress. It's like, well, what's the purpose of what we're doing here? And so, what is success?
Well, I think you and I were talking about this right before the show, right? And we jokingly said, "Are you having fun?" Because to me, success and fun should be related to one another. That doesn't always get to happen, but I think I'm at the age where that becomes one of my core qualifiers, right? Am I having a good time? And
You're doing a radio program, right?
right, yeah, and and as you say, as you talk about potentially selling the show, all that was going through my head was, well, what in the heck would you be doing then? Because I mean, you're Tom Matt, like, what would you do, right? But
Host the show because I'd work for you and we'd host the show and we'd be nationally syndicated instead of just regionally syndicated. But that's another thing.
as
We're
long as you want to make some tacos at the taco stand, right? That's all I'm talking about. Like, as long as you can make a good taco, my friend.
I like it. Let's make some tacos.
You
So
know, I think success is just it's again it's sort of what we were saying right before break. Success is personal, right? And my definition of success is not your definition of success. I think we tend to hear a lot of news stories, and there's a lot of focus and amplification about huge success stories, and then we hear that and then automatically incorporate that and try to determine if we should be benchmarking our success against what we hear out there. Which, I always say, look, this what you hear about the success of an IPO or the success of the sale of a company, you have to really decide that that's something that you want, because it's a heck of a lot of work. It's really hard. It takes much longer. You don't hear all the stuff that goes in underneath all of that, right? And again,
yeah,
that may not be what you're looking for. So I think success is related to the type of experience that you want to have. And I will often say it's about the people that I get to hang out with, right? So I've learned through multiple experiences that success for me is about the team that I get to be with, right? And the team that I get to help grow. I want to hang out with people that are a lot smarter than me, that teach me some things, right? That I can have fun with in the journey and laugh with, and and cry with when it gets tough.
Missionary Wendi Burkhardt's with us. All right, before we get to the next point of your very good list here, girly, I want to ask you about the when you mentor people in the problem with instantaneous gratification that is so common nowadays. Do you run into that a lot where people get really disappointed and they think, if they don't get success in 6 months or a year, 2 years, that they throw in the towel? Have you seen that a lot?
Oh my goodness, so significantly, particularly in the role that I'm in right now. I work as a partner with a private equity firm, and we see a significant amount of deals that come our way from companies that are early stage, that have started early stage, that are unfortunately not going the distance, right, with their capital providers, and they're not able to kind of extend. And it's tough because there's so many good companies out there, and particularly so many great technology companies out there right now, that if they had been given a little longer runway and a little more time, things probably could end up differently. But I think to your point, we are so conditioned to expect things to happen really rapid fire. I remember back when we had Silver Nest, I used to say to myself, because we were on the venture path and we were working to scale this business. I used to think to myself, this is so crazy. We're expected to be $100 million in revenue in 5 years. Like, what happened to when did it become a bad thing to be a $50 million company in like 8 years or 10 years, right? Like, when did that become a bad thing? So, we're living in this instantaneous culture. I'm afraid, my friend, that the emergence of AI is not going to do us any favors there. That's probably a different conversation for a different day. But I think AI has even further accelerated what we're able to do at a much faster pace. And I think we're going to start to feel the impact from that as well. But really, one of the biggest keys to success is patience. And I think you said something really powerful, coming in from the break about planning. And planning is really critical, right? And if we try to rush things, we don't always have time to see what we need to see or to plan to account for all of the different situations and conditions and things that may happen. And inevitably, there will be many, many things that happen that we can't account for.
When do you know it's time to evolve? For you, and we can stretch this through because we got a couple minutes before we go to break here, but we'll start the thread. When did you know? And then when we'll take it in two parts. When did Wendi know she needed to shift around with your stuff and then with the businesses and when you guide people? So that's a two-part question. Let's do the first part. For Wendi herself, give me a short answer on that one. We got 2 minutes to go, and then we'll come back and we'll finish the thread.
Well, I always know it's probably time to change when I'm getting bored. Pretty simple, right? Pretty
Yep.
simple. I am by nature somebody who really likes change. I thrive in change and I like to learn. And so if I get to a point where things feel really terribly repetitive, I'm wildly bored, and I'm not getting challenged, it's time. It's time.
Has that happened a lot for you in your career throughout your life? I mean, with school and as you're growing up, because we're both, growing older adults, but for these young people that are coming up, they're kind of looking at it like, well, this lady's really successful, but she probably had it handed to her. It was probably super easy for her. So, does that make any sense to you?
Yeah, no. Definitely was not easy, but I will attribute the experiences that I've had to being curious, right? And a desire to learn. And so I think I've been exposed to a lot of really cool opportunities that popped up because I was curious and I was willing to lean into those and explore them and try some new things. And I think we can talk a little bit further about this maybe in the next segment, but for all intents and purposes, what I'm doing now, I'm not theoretically qualified to do. So, it was just about leaning into it and deciding that it was something that I wanted to try and to learn and to see what might present.
Would you like to plug yourself or connections or anything like that? Speaking engagements, go right ahead. If you got anything you want to share with people, how they want to get a hold of you, being a guest. I just mentioned I was going to introduce, I'm definitely going to introduce you to Debbie Heiser, our psychologist friend. She's loved networking with people. How would you like people to connect with you?
I would love to hear from people just on my email. It's Wendi Burkhardt, all one word, WENDI BURKHARDT I love hearing from founders, entrepreneurs, business people, particularly underrepresented founders, folks that are looking for support, who have new concepts, who are trying to figure out how to grow their businesses. I get a lot of enjoyment out of working with folks and supporting those folks. I love speaking to different groups that can benefit from the experience that I've had, particularly as a two-time founder, female founder in particular. So I'd love to hear from folks on any of those items.
You have been a unbelievable visionary and creator. And again, we're talking about, the AI and how AI may kill creativity. Do you think that I'm onto something with that? Do you believe that the AI could be a creativity kind of, I don't know, holding us back, some kind of dam of some type for information? Do you believe that?
I think we don't know yet. I think we don't know yet. So I had the pleasure of, for those of you who are just data curious nerds out there like me, you can read Mary Meeker's latest report on AI, which is fascinating because it gives her predictions of what she thinks might be happening in the course of the next, 10 years. Um,
What did she
I
predict?
think, well, she says it's going to have a drastic impact on everything that we're doing in the next 10 years. And I have no doubt that there is going to be an impact because if you think about technology where we are today versus where we were when the internet launched, right? Which there's a lot of comparison to that. The big difference today is that we're all walking around with computers in our hand, every single one of us in some form, right? So we're using AI. To your earlier point, we're using it today. We don't even know we're using it. It's already there. Um, but in relationship to creativity, I think it's going to have a fundamental change on certain aspects of creativity. However, I don't know about the curiosity piece. Like I find personally, and this is just a personal experience, that I'm very curious about it. I like testing it and playing around with it right now. I did it this morning. I wanted to see what kind of results it would give me
Sure.
for a particular query. Um, I think it's going to evolve. And I think right now, I think of ultimately it will be an ingredient in a bigger solution design, much like, having a website is an ingredient, right? Or having a cell phone is an
Yep.
ingredient. And I think we just don't know what all the use cases out there will be just yet. And I'm very curious about that.
You had an explanation before I do the question. It was like, don't be afraid to try something new. If you're stuck, what to do? And so again, the AI thing, I just tried Chat GPT with a document that I was working on, and I put it in just for the heck of it, just to try it, just like you're saying, experimenting with it. I want to be I want to be knowledgeable about it. I may not use it much. The thing I didn't like about it for me, Wendy, was for this document, it it made a really nice document, except it's completely stripped out my voice. I mean, and I'm being and an author, me, a talker, I was like, where's my voice? And so that was the one thing that was interesting. Okay, so let's go to this point here. If you're stuck, what are you going to do? I mean, because I just gave sort of the answer, but don't be afraid to try that new thing. Don't be afraid to get out there and experiment. Don't be afraid to take that class. How many classes have you taken in your life?
Oh my goodness. I could not even tell you. A
There you go.
lot. A
There you go.
lot, right? And that's just scratching the surface. Yeah. I think it's interesting too because as I was alluding to, what I'm doing right now is not anything that I'm technically qualified for. And I get the privilege of hearing that from other folks sort of within this industry, right? So if you think about the path of folks that are in private equity, they are conventional bankers. They came out of investment banking. They use a lot of terminology that's very sophisticated that I didn't understand a word of. And so the fact that I actually am sitting on the side of private equity and working at Edited, and by the way, we are an all-female led firm, which is also pretty unusual and cool. We, you know, if somebody would have told me 10 years ago that, hey, you might have the opportunity to go into private equity, I would have told you were crazy, right? I don't have a fancy Ivy League degree. I don't have the banking credentials to do supposedly what I would have thought was required. But I was given a chance to jump in, try some things out, play around with some things, and I've learned a lot. I've been drinking from the fire hose a lot. Um, but you know what is, I think if you are somebody again who's curious and you like to learn, I guess maybe right or wrong, I've always believed that I can learn just about anything if you put it in front of me. Maybe not how to do hardcore like, you know, biotech engineering. I probably can't do any of those things. But
Good
with
enough.
the right mentors, the right teaching, the right opportunity to learn, there's just a lot of cool things to explore.
How do you achieve success? We've been talking about success, being a visionary. How do you get people off of the maybe they're stuck, maybe they can get going, maybe they're not, maybe they're thinking about, it, maybe you're just like hemming and hawing, maybe you're getting close to the retirement zone and you're wondering, what am I going to do next? It's like always have a plan for the next thing. We talked about plans earlier. And what Wendy said is absolutely essential. Patience is the key to success. You must have a plan. I don't care how old you are. If you're 25 or if you're 65, you need a plan. What are you going to be doing in the next 2, 3, 5, 10 years? We'll talk about that. How do you achieve it there, Ms. Burkhardt? What do you think about this stuff? Go right ahead.
I think before the break, we were just talking about, where do you jump in or what types of things do you look for? And I think, you know, we're out in the world every day and having, multiple experiences every day. And inevitably, we're likely to run into things that, we recognize as a problem that doesn't have a solution, right? How many times are you out doing something and you're like, why doesn't this have X? Or why doesn't somebody make X? Or why do I still have to do it this way? And, I would say the where the work that I'm doing right now was born out of that, which was actually informed by the work that I did at Silvernest. So, having been a tech entrepreneur and having raised a bunch of capital, in that ecosystem, you start to recognize that there's really only 5% of the companies that are ever going to make it through the entire venture capital ecosystem. What happens to everybody else? You have a whole bunch of technology companies out there that got money, that aren't going to continue on that journey. Like, does all that technology just go up in smoke and go away, right? And so we recognized, the founders of our firm, we all recognized that, wow, there's a whole segment, there's a whole opportunity out there that's being completely overlooked every day, that isn't getting any more money, that's just going to evaporate, needs a second chance. Like, why can't we go after it? Why can't we go build something for it, right? Sylvanus was a lot like that, right? Some of it was born out of the fact that I lost my father. My mom was living on her own. She had a friend move in with her. You start to realize, like, wow, there's all this extra bedroom space. People have all this extra space in their home. They're feeling kind of lonely. They might need a little extra cash. Why can't we put them together and create roommates, right? Over the age of 55. So none of this is rocket scientist. It's really just the byproduct of living in an experience every day and realizing that there's an opportunity, and saying, wow, like, could we design a solution that would work for this? And I think that to me is where I find my greatest inspiration. It's in the day-to-day things that I'm living, that I see, where I can figure out, like, hey, could somebody build this? Oh, wait, well, if they're not going to build it, then maybe I should build it. Maybe I should take a chance.
We got about 3 minutes to go before we wrap this thing, and I wanted to ask you a little bit about edited capital and then a takeaway. So could you combine those two together for me, Wendy, and just talk a
Yeah,
little bit about edited capital
you
and
bet.
promote them, and then maybe lead into your takeaway? Please go right ahead.
Yeah, well, Edited Capital, like I was sharing, is we're a 5-year-old early stage private equity firm. We buy early stage venture technology companies that are not going to move down that path. We take them and try to get them stable, give them a second chance, and then get them back out in market. So that's what we do today. It's very exciting, very rewarding. And I think it ties into the takeaway, at least for me, because one of the core drivers for me is results, right? So I am a values driven, results oriented person. Um, for me, success and work are really about, does this represent what I value? Does it represent what I believe in? And at the end of the day, do I get to feel good about the results that I'm delivering? Does it have impact? Am I helping somebody else? Um, you know, yes, is it successful financially? All the things, right? But it first and foremost is really organized around my values and the results that we get at the end.
Wendy Burkhardt, when I go back in the files to like 2018, it's it's incredible to me that she's continued to do more and more and more. It's not that it's all that unusual because I would expect it with Wendy Burkhardt, but she is just somebody who you need to get a hold of. Again, edited capital. The email will be in the recap. I'll send it to you. Check out the recap. Thank you, everyone, for what you're doing. Please support our sponsors. Get a hold of Brock Fletcher if you're looking for some real estate or you need some ideas on the reality of real estate. Check out all those episodes. And until next time, it's been a pleasure. I'm Papa Tom, Tom Matt. It's the Tom Matt Show. Peace out. Love y'all. Until next time, we're out.